Hello and welcome to Spiritual Awakenings. I'm PK Pastor Kevin. Good to have you here. Somebody needs to hear this. It could be you. It's time to stop comparing yourself to others and feeling low about yourself. It's time to stop comparing your relationships, your social life, your income, your salary, your job to other people's job and relationships and career. It is so easy to fall into the comparison trap. It's not as blatant or obvious or dramatic as binge drinking or getting jacked up on drugs or having an affair. No, it's much more slow and subtle, very subtle. I mean, it is so easy to look at somebody else's life and relationships and job and feel like what they have is a whole lot more than what you have. Research shows that comparing ourselves to others and feeling low about ourselves, our lives, is now more common because of social media. Comparison can make us feel worse about ourselves, and social media can kick that into overdrive. I mean, you're at home, you scroll on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, and you see people on your friends lists, and they seem happier than you. They seem to be having more fun than you are. That they're taking selfies together on vacation or out to the movies, doing things together. They sometimes seem to be having more fun and more love and more good times than you. Now, I like social media, don't get me wrong, but when comparison begins, contentment ends. Think about that. When comparison begins, contentment ends. Contentment is simply being at peace with yourself and being at peace with your life as is. Sure, there's room for improvement. Sure, there are things that you want. Sure, you go to a store or go online and buy something, but contentment means overall you feel good about yourself. You feel at peace with yourself, at peace with your job, your career, your college, your salary. When comparison begins, contentment and being at peace with yourself, it ends. See, you can be full of joy and be single. You can be full of joy and not married yet. You can be full of joy and be content with yourself and be divorced. You can be content with your own life and be out of a relationship, having ended a relationship. You can be full of joy and not have a spouse or kids or grandkids. The Son of God had none of those things. The Apostle Paul had no spouse, no kids, no grandkids. And guess what? They were content. The Apostle Paul was under arrest when he wrote his letter to the Philippians. And yet, in Philippians, in your Bible, he talks about joy and being joyful there than in any other letter that he wrote in the Bible. Think about that. So you can be content with yourself, at peace with your life, happy with your life, even without a date on Friday night or big plans for the weekend or have a serious relationship or be married or go off to the movies this weekend. So how do you and I avoid the comparison trap? I'm glad you asked. 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 11 in the New Living Translation. It says, make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we have instructed you before. Perhaps you didn't know that the Bible itself tells us to mind our own business, but there it is. 1 Thessalonians 4:11, it says to mind your own business. That means spend less time looking at people's lives, less time scrolling on Facebook and Instagram. If you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or your friends' Facebook profiles for an hour or two, that's too much. That's too much. It's time for you to spend less time looking at people's lives, thinking about people's lives, talking about other people. Spend more time focusing on the beauty of your own life. Call somebody up that you have not seen for a while. Go out for coffee. Get involved when you can. Do you have your own church? Get involved in your church. Do things. If you don't have anybody to go to the movies with, go by yourself to the movies. Why not? Think about Jesus. When Jesus Christ provided free food, loaves and fish multiplied, and healing miracles, basically free food and healthcare, he had thousands, right? 4,000 in one story, 5,000 in another. And yet, during the Last Supper, which is iconic, has been immortalized by Da Vinci, right? In the Last Supper, at the Passover holiday, how many did he have? 5,000? 4? Not even 100. He had 12, as I'm sure you know. Only 12 were there. And think about this. Jesus would have ruined his Passover holiday, the Jewish holiday, if he would have looked around the table and said, wow, really, only 12. I used to have 4,000, used to have 5,000, a mega church. And now, no more mega church at my Last Supper. If he would have talked like that or thought like that, he would have ruined his Last Supper. He would have ruined his last night with his disciples before his execution, before his crucifixion. But Jesus looked around at the 12. Then he had 11, right? When Judas left. Judas Iscariot got up and left. Then he had 11. A far cry from the mega church of 5,000 when he fed them with loaves and fish. But I believe he enjoyed that Passover holiday. He enjoyed his Last Supper. Why? Because he wasn't focused on the outward. He wasn't focusing upon the numbers. He didn't care how many were there. He cared who was there. He wasn't looking at numbers. He was looking at friends. Not every rabbi called their disciples friends. Jesus called them friends. He calls you a friend. He calls me a friend. We are his friends. So, quality over quantity. Stop focusing on who is not there in your life. Stop focusing on the boyfriend who broke up with you. Or if it's a girlfriend, stop looking at the girlfriend who's no longer in your life. Stop looking at the friends who you used to hang out with on the weekends who have, in their own way, forgotten about you and allowed you to drift out of their lives. It's their loss. You are a quality person. You are created in the image of God. Not saying they're not, but anybody who left you behind is losing out. It's their loss. And it will soon be somebody else's gain, guaranteed. But until you find the right one, until you find your soulmate, stop looking at who is not there in your life. Start focusing on who is in your life. Who is in your life that is so precious to you? Friends, a best friend, a partner, your kids, grandkids, your mom, your dad, roommate. Focus on those who have your back. Do you have photos or pictures of your family or holidays? I do. Do you have photo albums? Look through them more often. Look through them more often. This is Friday. Last Wednesday was my 25th wedding anniversary. And one of the things that my wife and I did was pull out our wedding album and thumb through it. And remembering with nostalgia how young we looked 25 years ago and all those at our wedding. It's nice. It brings warmth. It's wonderful. So look at old pictures. Celebrate your life. Or think about the good old days. And remember this, what you see about people's lives, oftentimes you're only seeing the highlight reel. You're only seeing the highlights of people's lives, the happy times. When you're looking on Facebook or your friends' Instagram pages or Snapchat, you're not seeing the bad times. Oh, there are a few people who love drama, who post their drama all the time. But for the most part, your friends on Facebook, Instagram, or X, or TikTok, you're not seeing the arguing. You're not seeing the fights. When two people are in the middle of an argument, a knockdown, drag out fight, they won't say, hold on, honey, and pull out their smartphone and take a picture of themselves during a fight and then post that on Facebook and then continue their argument. No. What you're seeing is the highlight reel, the happy times of people's lives. Besides, I've seen people that I was physically with. We're out somewhere doing something. We're all together. And these people, they're not depressed, but they're not overly happy. But the moment somebody pulls out their smartphone and says, selfie, they're all smiling, real big. And that goes on social media. That goes on their Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook. But for the rest of that evening, for the rest of that whole time together, they're not ecstatic or really excited or enthused, overly happy. They're not. So remember, the grass only appears greener on the other side. Oftentimes, it's not. It's not. Your friends that you see at work, your work friends who are talking about going out this weekend to a concert, having fun, your friends that are in relationships, posting selfies, believe me, they have their bad times. They have their arguments, their fights, their headaches. But they're not living in paradise. It's not all roses and rainbows in their lives. Now you think about that the next time you are tempted to fall into the comparison trap. The 10th commandment in the 10 commandments is thou shalt not what? Covet. That means looking at people's stuff, their car, their home, their income, their job, their promotion, their girlfriend, boyfriend, and desiring it and wanting it. Now look, I get it. We're not always happy with our lives. I'm not always happy with my life. You're not always happy with your life. Now I get that. And if and when you see something or someone that you want a relationship, you want to have more fun, you want to do more things, go for it. Go after it. It's good to have goals, to have ambition and go after things. But no more comparing ourselves to other people. It's a waste of energy. Now, you will always find somebody who has something that you want. But guess what? This is very important. You will always find somebody who would love to have what you have. Think about it. People who are in relationships, they miss their alone time. Especially introverts who get their energy from being alone. People who are single are always wanting somebody, wanting to be in love, especially with February and Valentine's coming up. But there are a lot of people who would look at your life and look at where you live and look at your current relationship status, and they would love to have what you have. I guarantee it. So it's human on occasion to think, I wish I had that person's job. I wish I made that person's salary. I wish I had that home. But believe it or not, there are people who would look at your life, your home, your vehicle, your family, your health, and they would love to have what you have. They wish they had what you have. So that is what is so sinister and evil and wicked about the comparison trap. Don't fall into it. Enjoy your life. Celebrate your life. There's nothing wrong with your life. Jesus, single, no kids, no grandkids, no pension, no financial security as a rabbi. He didn't have most of what society says you have to be happy. And yet he was joyful. It says in the Bible in Luke chapter 10, Luke 10:21 to be exact, he was full of joy of the Holy Spirit. So, no more falling for the comparison trap. Your life is wonderful as is. Your life is special as is. Galatians 6 verse 4 in the New Living Translation. Pay careful attention to your own work. And I would add, your own life. For then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done. And you won't need to compare yourself to anyone else. You don't need to compare yourself to anybody else. Not your brother or sister who's married. Not your friend who's already married with a child. Not somebody at work who got the promotion. You are here because you are meant to live your life. Your life is beautiful as is. You have the people in your life for reasons. And you are in certain people's lives for certain purposes. Some people are meant to be in your life for a long time, the long haul, lifelong friends. And some people are only meant to be in your life for short term. And when you lose them, when they move away or break up with you or just stop calling or texting, I know it feels like you're lacking something. There's a hole there that you want to fill. And you might be in a frenzy wanting to fill that void. Don't fall into that trap. Because you might rush into some toxic relationship and end up with something very toxic and codependent. You're meant to live your life. Your life as is beautiful. Whether you're married, whether you're single or divorced, step parent, or whether you have one parent and a step parent, or if you're like me and both parents are gone, your life is beautiful as is. You're not meant to have the talent that somebody else has. You're meant to have your own talent, your gifts, your abilities, your own unique personality. You are here to shine your light and serve the Lord and be who you are and not like somebody else. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 58 in the New Living Translation. So, my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and immovable. Always work enthusiastically for the Lord. For you know that nothing you do for the Lord is ever useless. Because you leave your own thumbprint in people's lives. People remember you fondly. So there is beauty and blessings in your life. You have a good life. Cherish your life, value your life, and focus on what is in your life and who is in your life while you still have them. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, take care, love your life.